The House Ways and Means Committee has gathered to examine the future of digital currency in the United States, holding a hearing titled, Making America the Crypto Capital of the World, Ensuring Digital Asset Policy Built for the 21st Century. Lawmakers from both major parties, industry experts, and government regulators assembled to consider how the U.S. might foster innovation in cryptocurrencies, while also establishing safeguards to protect investors and the broader financial system. Attention focused on how current rules and agency oversight are holding up as blockchain technology and digital assets advance rapidly. Some witnesses advocated for clearer, more unified federal guidance, contending that uncertainty inhibits American competitiveness compared to global rivals like the European Union and Singapore. Others urged caution, highlighting risks of illicit finance and the importance of anti-fraud enforcement. With more Americans trading tokens than ever, congressional decisions regarding regulation, taxation, and legal status for digital assets could reshape markets for years to come. As part of the discussions, concerns were raised about balancing innovation incentives with national security, anti-money laundering, and consumer protections, as digital finance becomes increasingly integrated into daily life and the wider economy. Meanwhile, a heated debate continues in the Senate, where Republicans are pushing to pass a $9 billion funding clawback bill before a July 18th deadline. At the heart of the legislation is a proposal to revoke federal funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the central entity supplying resources to NPR and PBS. The bill's progress involved a rare tie-breaking vote cast by Vice President J.D. Vance in his capacity as Senate President, after an even split among senators on two key procedural hurdles. Notably, Senators Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Susan Collins of Maine, and Mitch McConnell of Kentucky joined Democrats in voting against moving the bill forward. Senator Collins, who is often regarded as a swing vote in budget debates, explained her decision by expressing concerns about the impact on public access to independent news and educational programming, warning that such a move could devastate media access in rural and underserved areas. During the so-called vote-a-rama process, senators are able to propose an unlimited number of amendments to influence the eventual shape of the bill, signaling ongoing intense negotiations and significant uncertainty over its final outcome. Parallel to these legislative battles, a group of 20 states has jointly filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration over its decision to end a major federal emergency management agency program. The state's complaint, submitted in a federal court in Boston, alleges that the termination of FEMA's Building Resilient Infrastructures and Communities (BRIC) program was illegal. They argue that only Congress has the authority to disband such an initiative. The BRIC program was established to provide vital funds for infrastructure projects designed to mitigate damage from hurricanes, floods, and other natural disasters. With its sudden termination earlier this year, communities across America have been forced to halt or delay hundreds of projects that have taken years to plan. The states warn that crucial investments in planning, permitting, and environmental review are now threatened, ultimately leaving millions at higher risk as climate change intensifies weather events. Legal observers suggest the lawsuit could set a precedent on federal discretion over disaster preparedness funding and state rights during a period of increasing vulnerability to natural hazards. In a different policy arena, President Donald Trump has signed the HALT All Lethal Trafficking of Fentanyl Act, increasing the minimum mandatory prison sentence for large-scale fentanyl traffickers. The new law mandates a minimum 10-year prison sentence for anyone convicted of trafficking at least 100 grams of fentanyl-related substances. This legislation, which passed with strong bipartisan support, also reclassifies fentanyl analogs as Schedule I narcotics under federal law, placing them in the strictest legal category and signaling zero tolerance for distribution. Trump speaking at a ceremony in the East Room of the White House, they sure spoiling Syrian scenes, hailed the bipartisan effort as a major achievement in the ongoing fight against opioid-related deaths and crime. He emphasized the devastating impact of synthetic opioids on communities nationwide and vowed that federal agencies would intensify their crackdown on drug trafficking networks and distribution channels. Supporters of the new law argue stringent penalties are needed to combat the relentless rise of overdose fatalities, while critics caution against mandatory minimums, citing their potential impact on sentencing equity and criminal justice reform efforts. Turning to consumer news, Coca-Cola has made headlines after agreeing to use cane sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup in its iconic Coke beverage across the United States. President Trump announced the decision on July 16th via his Truth Social platform, noting he had personally discussed the matter with Coca-Cola executives. A well-known Diet Coke enthusiast himself, Trump framed the move as a positive step for both public taste and health, suggesting that real cane sugar would enhance the quality and flavor of U.S.-made Coke, bringing it in line with versions sold internationally. While Coca-Cola has yet to release a detailed statement, food industry analysts point out the switch could have ripple effects on beverage production, sugar importation, and agricultural demand within the U.S. American consumers have long noticed a difference in taste between domestic Coke and formulas made elsewhere that use cane sugar. The move comes amidst broader consumer demand for transparency in ingredients and nostalgia for classic recipes, as major food brands seek to balance tradition, changing costs, and shifting public preferences. Altogether, these stories reflect a dynamic moment in U.S. policymaking, where debates over technology, media funding, public safety, disaster mitigation, and even popular consumer products converge in the national spotlight. Whether it is the future of cryptocurrency, the fate of federally funded broadcasters, the preparedness of American infrastructure, the ongoing opioid epidemic, or the taste of a favorite drink, lawmakers and stakeholders across the country are navigating high-stakes questions whose answers will have effects far beyond Washington.